Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Sunday, December 29th, after the Celtics 123-114 loss to the Indiana Pacers, beat them by 37 points on Friday, lost by 9 on Sunday. A pretty ugly game, especially on the defensive end, which I'm sure we will talk about. Jaylen Brown played pretty well. Jayson Tatum turned it up a little in the second half, but he had a pretty off night. Payton Pritchard was hot. Not a great three-point shooting night, but in my opinion, at least, that wasn't the biggest issue. It was the Celtics' lack of defense. And the Pacers came to play. They got beat bad on Friday, and they said, you know what, we don't really want that to happen again. So credit them for picking up their intensity, but Boston just did not have it.
I think we kind of touched on this on Friday because of how much of a blowout / whomping / wire-to-wire win it was. And the fact that they had to come out here and try and do it all again today with a team that was going to obviously be pissed off, a team that has played them well, a team that has history with them now, having lost to them in the conference finals last year, probably feeling like they were a little embarrassed that it went the way it did in terms of 4-0, despite those games being competitive. They had a little bit of fuel to them today, and it was clear in this game. I mean, right from the beginning, the Pacers – listen, the Celtics were cold out of the gate, but the Pacers were playing with intent. They were playing hard. And every time the Celtics got close in this game, which was a Herculean effort every single time, by the way, for the Celtics to get within a couple points, they had to do seemingly everything right. They had to have Tatum get hot for a stretch. It had to be Payton Pritchard in the second quarter going ballistic, or Jaylen at the jump just being like the guy that willed the team back into the game. And then all of a sudden, Indiana would be up 7 points again the next time you look at the scoreboard. It was a theme in the pressers today. Joe Mazzulla talked about it quite a bit. The transition defense was tough. Indiana outscored the Celtics 18-4 in that category. And when you're in the midst of a game where it was not easy to get stops as is, Indiana shot 52%, 53% in this game. It was a lot higher through the first half, through the third quarter. When you're giving up baskets that rate, and then you're finally able to get a stop, and then you look down the court and they're already scoring in transition, it makes it so much harder to climb back. You need the stops, and it's not easy to get stops. You can't just give them free baskets in transition. And it was tough. I mean, listen, some of these clips that I pulled up for the article I'm putting together for Celtics Blog were tough. There were some entry passes to Tatum. They were trying to hit him on the short roll quite a bit today, and it felt like every time he was in that position, he was getting thrown. If it was football, they would be hospital passes. Except today, they were like turnovers, like stamped pre-sent turnovers.
Yeah, it was bad. It felt like this was an even worse offensive showing than what the box score says. I mean, they shot 46%, but it didn't feel like they shot that well. It feels like they shot a lot worse. The biggest thing by far in this game was the Celtics played horrendous defense, like truly awful, awful, awful defense. Probably the worst defensive showing of the season, and that's considering what happened on Christmas Day against the Sixers. They rolled out the reddest of carpets to the paint for the Pacers. It was, oh, you want a basket in here? Here you go. Come hang out. We're having a party. Come VIP club in the paint. The Tyrese's, Maxey and Halliburton, back-to-back losses, just said, hey, we're going to have a party in the paint, even though we're both guards. So that was ugly. It was terrible. Joe Mazzulla made the point after the game that they scored more points in transition in this game or whatever than the previous game, something like that. But the real difference, in my opinion, was in this game, and I'm going to pull up the game where the Celtics won. Friday night, the Pacers had 46 points in the paint, 23 of 43. In this game on Sunday, which they lost, they had 66 points in the paint, 33 of 52. The Celtics got outscored in the paint by 18 fucking points. You're not going to win many games when that happens. This was an abysmal defensive showing, and it was on a lot of fronts. I asked Joe, I asked Tatum, I asked Derek White, like all about like what the inconsistencies are stemming from. And they all said it's a blend of everything. And they're right, because at the very start of the game, when Joe Mazzulla called a timeout, it was a defensive miscommunication between Sam Hauser and Jayson Tatum on a play that led to a easy dunk in the paint. Later in the game, Sam Hauser, who I don't know if it's his back affecting him, he is not the same defensive player he was last season. He was getting blown by every possession, whether it's Jayson Tatum getting beat by Thomas Bryant for a rebound where he should have had the box out, or it's Al Horford getting beat off the dribble because they're targeting him, or it's Nemish Queta not being able to guard Nembhard. Like, these guys' one-on-one defense is nowhere near, one, where it needs to be, and two, where it was last year. And it's a problem because their rotations also aren't where they need to be. They're not quick enough to rotate over. They're not quick enough to recognize where the Pacers are going. Their pick and roll defense was awful. Tyrese Halliburton was cooking them. Like Tyrese Halliburton got a screen, free basket, free bucket. Pacers are going to score if Tyrese Halliburton got a screen in this game. How many assists did he end up with? I'm going to look right now.
I think he
Tyrese
had
Halliburton
7.
finished this game. Yeah, 7 assists. That doesn't even feel like
He
the
had-
right number. Well, that's
he
because
had,
Nemhard
yeah,
had 8 of
7.
them. Nemhard had 8 of them. Siakam had 6 of them. If the Pacers got a pick and roll, the Celtics were cooked. This was an abysmal defensive showing for the Celtics. I'm still not ready to say I'm worried because there's still this little tinge in me, and it's not going to end until the playoffs, so it's just going to stick there that they're going to turn it up. But there comes a time in the season where you can't just say, oh, we'll wait till the playoffs. And I wholeheartedly believe and understand it is hard to stay 1,000% locked in for 8 months straight. It is. I know everybody
We
in the
deal with it.
comments. Exactly. Everybody in the comments is gonna be like, "Oh, they get paid millions." I don't care if you get paid all the money in the world. It is objectively hard to stay 100% locked in for that long. It's impossible. It's not even hard. It's impossible. But when big parts of the defensive issues are communication and things that don't even necessarily require 100% focus and effort, it's those things. It's understanding the tendencies. It's knowing when to switch and when to call out your defensive rotations. It's knowing when to get out. It's finding the box out so you can close out the defensive possession when you're getting scored on in bunches. It's running out for a closeout instead of leisurely jogging and giving them a comfortable look. It's these little things that pile up and pile up and pile up. Like once or twice throughout the game, they happen 100%. But when it's the entire reason the defense is failing, that's when it becomes a problem. And that's what happened.
It's true, man. And this has been a trend. I mean, we've been asking them about the defense now for, it really feels like every game since the in-season tournament. Like they just really haven't felt that engaged. And you know what? When, you're not competing for the cup anymore, I can understand. But in all seriousness, I mean, I said it to you guys as we were waiting to get on the elevator. It feels like the Celtics are playing a video game that they already beat. And like they're kind of like getting bored with it. They're waiting for the harder levels to start coming up to where it's going to force them to focus again. It's going to require them to lock in. And listen, I mean, I guess today would have required them to lock in too, but ultimately they have the luxury of this game meaning nothing in a year if they go out there and take care of business. That's the way the NBA works. There are several, I mean, just think about how upset, I mean, me as an individual, as I was when they lost to the Lakers here last year. I was pissed. Doesn't matter now. Who cares? They won the championship. It doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to them. Why would they care? And I think they might be in that mode a little bit right now. I think they didn't play great defense today for sure. I remember saying to Bobby in the first half, looking at it and seeing Miles Turner set screens, and then every time he rolled off the screen, it felt like there was nobody within 5 feet of him. And it was like they could do anything they wanted.
Or if there was somebody within 5 feet of Miles Turner, they fouled him. They just hacked the shit out of him and got him to the line.
I mean, he played well in this game. He was definitely a presence. He had an efficient night for 13 points. Can't complain about that too much if you're the Pacers. But, man, they got to figure this out. I mean, Joe was asked – I think Turp asked him about it after the game. He was like, hey, listen, you guys got to go on the road and play some good Western Conference teams here. And he was like, we're excited for it. Oh, B-Rob. Sorry, I don't mean to misattribute that one.
It's good.
But it's a serious challenge coming up. They play Minnesota on Thursday. They play OKC on Sunday. I'm sure somebody else. Denver's in that stretch. Houston's in that stretch. I know we talked about it when the schedule was coming out. It's all coming back to memory now, us having the chat about it. And listen, they've lost this game in OKC early January 2 years in a row now. Don't make it 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wrote about that comment that Joe made, and when he was asked about the stretch by B-Rob, he said, I'm actually really excited about it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be great, which classic, of course. But in January, the Celtics play the Timberwolves, the Rockets twice, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Kings, the Warriors, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Mavs. Not easy. That's not an easy schedule. And I know some of those teams are struggling. The Kings obviously fired Mike Brown, and the Lakers are what they are, and the Clippers, but like objectively more difficult teams than a lot of these teams in the East that they've been playing at the start of the season. So it's going to be a tough stretch. And the defense
It's
has to
sad
be
because
a lot better.
I want to troll and be like, that's however many, like, what did you, let's just say they play 11 games. Like, I want to troll and be like, oh, it's 11 wins. What are we talking about? But, like, I can't even do that in, like, good conscience. Like, last year I could do it and, like, end up being right. I don't know if I can be right trolling this year. How much fun is that supposed to be for me? I love to troll. I can't even troll. They've lost my trolling fate. I've lost my trolling privileges because these guys, they want to troll us. They want to go out there and just kind of maybe win, maybe not win. If it goes right, it's going to be great. If not, then oh well. It's just weird. It's different than last year. This team last year, I looked at the game, this I guess the schedule on Basketball Reference tonight because I was curious if they had lost at all. 4 out of 6, they hadn't. So this is a brand new thing, brand new that we're seeing. And typically when they would have a poor stretch, they would respond by winning a bunch of games in a row. Where is it? Is it coming? If it is coming, then to be honest with you, it's going to be impressive. Like Joe said, it's an exciting stretch coming up. They rip off a bunch of wins in a row here. We're all going to be like, all right, respect. But for now, they're not really doing anything to earn that respect. Like they're starting to lose some of the faith, I think. Like, I mean, even you came out here today and was like, well, I'm not ready to panic yet, but not great. Not great when you're giving up 123 points to a Pacer team that you handled a couple days ago.
I think the Celtics set such a high bar for themselves last year that it's tough to see them struggle at all, when in reality last year was like the exception and not the rule. That said, the Celtics are human again. Welcome to the reality that they're no longer basketball robots, which I wrote about multiple times last year. Like they are no longer robots. They are human. They can fuck up, and they've been playing bad, and they need to find a way to get out of it. I don't think they're worried about it, and I think that's the good thing about having Joe and having the experience they had last year, where they're not going to panic. They're not going to worry about a rough stretch because, I mean, even though they haven't had it last year, Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown have been through plenty of rough stretches. Derek White even has as well. Actually, maybe not him, because when he joined the Celtics, they were kind of stomping everybody. But regardless, I'm not worried about their ability to fight through it. I'm worried because the defense has been a lot of things that are in their control and they're not changing it. But going through some of these individual performances, Jaylen Brown was good, 13 of 21, 2 of 6, 31 points, 4 rebounds, 6 assists. He was awesome. Again, he continues to be great. He's playing the entire first quarter now, which seems to be helping him out. So maybe Joe sticks with that, even though Tatum didn't have the best game. But Jaylen's been really fun to watch despite their struggles.
Yeah, Jaylen, if there's anything that you want to be happy about right now, Jaylen looks like he's back. He was unbelievable in this game. He was unbelievable on Friday. He changed the tide for the Celtics multiple times in this game. They came out dead in the water today. They started like 1 of 8 from 3. He gets aggressive in the first quarter. He has a big performance just like he did on Friday. And then all of a sudden the Celtics are back in this game. Then later in the game, Celtics were down 11. They fall down 11 in the fourth quarter. He drives coast to coast, goes right through, I think it was Ben Shepherd or maybe it was TJ McConnell for an and one. Then the very next possession continues to be aggressive, hits the paint again, and finds Horford for a corner 3. By the way, Horford, who did not make any other threes except this one, to cut it to 5. Jaylen Brown single-handedly sparked a 6-0 run in the fourth quarter when the Celtics were ready to die, and they ended up dying, but they looked like they were ready to do it much earlier than they did. And because of his aggressiveness and his perseverance and his commitment to getting inside and his odd calmness where he wasn't out of control while doing all of this, they were able to prolong the game. They got it down to 2 after a Tatum and 1. And if Jaylen is going to continue playing this, they've at least taken something positive from this stretch, that their guy looks like he's figured it out, because there were stretches this year where we were looking at it and like, should we be worried about Jaylen? Jaylen looks off. Jaylen looks uncomfortable within this team, and he looks like himself again. So that is one thing to take away and be like, all right, cool. This is good.
Yeah, on the flip side, I thought Tatum looked pretty weird in this game. He didn't have the scoring night that you usually see from him on Friday, but the effort was there with the rebounds. I thought his defense was really good. He was guarding a lot of positions. he just seemed like, I don't know if disengaged is the right word. He just seemed super lackadaisical for a lot of points in this game. I mean, I said it when I was talking about the defense. There was one point in the game where Thomas Bryant just like walked by him for an offensive rebound and put it back, and Tatum just like didn't box him out. There was one play where I don't know if he was frustrated, but he just like bodied the shit out of TJ McConnell and shoved him to the ground in the half court, and nothing came of it. Like it was just, it felt like Tatum was not bringing the energy that we're used to seeing from him. He took a couple of those not great shots you want to see from him in the first half. He was driving to the rim and not finishing as well. I thought he played better in the second half, but it went past even the bad shot selection. It just felt like Tatum was not as energized, wasn't as hustle oriented. He had 9 rebounds, but he only had 3 for like a large chunk of the first half and maybe into the third. It just felt like he wasn't as engaged as he usually is in this game, even though he ended with the set line that was like, all right.
Yeah, with this Tatum game, it was bad for probably, how many minutes Tatum played? Tatum played 41 minutes, so he's probably bad for 33 to 35 minutes and good for 8 to 6 or 6 to 8. He had this incredible stretch late in the third quarter. Aside from that, it was really rough. I think he only had 3 points in the first half. I could be mistaken. If not, it was only like 6. He really didn't get going. And, some of that has to do with acknowledging that Jaylen is having it going today and being willing to take the back seat and sacrifice. But it also had something to do with him just being cold. Like at one point in this game, him and Horford were combined 4 of 20. Greeny tweeted out the stat. And it's abnormal. Like the Celtics were battling an abnormally bad offensive night from their top guy and then one of their key role players. And it's tough to win like that. It's tough to not get frustrated, but there's something to this team this year where it seems like they get frustrated pretty easy. I don't know if they've almost tricked themselves into having the same expectations that we have, where it feels like they should win no matter what. But almost any time that they've faced adversity this year, it's ended with them getting frustrated. Just think about how many losses this year have had technical foul spurts. They've had guys going to the podium after the game complaining about the officiating, right or wrong. It feels like it happens a lot. And I don't think this was listen, I think the officials made their presence known in this game. There was a lot of disruption of the flow, especially in the first half. I think there was one turnover in particular in this game that was a fast break bucket for the Pacers in the fourth quarter that Tatum got pushed from behind on a catch and he didn't catch it. But I think they are really easily bothered this year, and that is making them different than last year. Like you mentioned, they're human now, and part of the human element is that people can annoy them, and robots don't really get annoyed. Last year, you didn't see a whole lot of this.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I said, I think they'll bounce out of it, and they're an objectively talented basketball team. So I'm not like gonna say they're screwed, but it's just the little tendencies are seeping in that you don't really want to see. And yeah, Al Horford and Jayson Tatum were combined 0 of 11 from 3 in the first half. Tatum had 5 points. Just not very good. He was passing all right, but it's just his overall game felt weird. Sam Hauser finally made some threes. It was just unfortunately paired with him getting cooked on defense, so that wasn't amazing to see from him. Derek White was pretty good. He only shot 3 of 11 from 3, but it felt like he made some big ones when they needed them. It just wasn't as consistent as you want. Payton Pritchard was sick. 21 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 7 of 13, 5 of 8. He made his shots. Jordan Walsh was 0 of 2, 0 of 1, but I actually thought he was one of the better players in this game. I mean, he was a +4. He was the only guy outside of garbage time who was positive plus minus. I mean, Nimi was a +3, but I think that was inflated by garbage time too.
I think Walsh played in garbage time as well, for what it's worth.
Okay, sure. I do think it's on a night where the Celtics defense looked, I mean, frankly, like shit. His defensive intensity was nice to see because he was constantly in passing lanes. He was constantly pressing at the point of attack. He was a motherfucker on the glass. He only ended with 3 rebounds, but he was fighting for all of them. Derek White stole one from him and it rolled to the Pacers. But I thought Walsh was really good, and he's been really good. Nimi wasn't very good. Nimi got in the game for like 3 minutes, got torched on like 2 defensive possessions, and then they took him out of the game. Luke Cornett was whatever. He had 9 rebounds, which is great, but he in 3 blocks, actually, he was better than I thought. But and then garbage time was garbage time. Drew Peterson scored at the end to make sure they didn't lose by double digits. So there's that.
Listen, I think the Walsh thing is exciting. I would probably be more excited about it if Joe wasn't so blunt about why Jordan Walsh was
Why
playing in
he's
these
getting minutes.
games after the game. Poor Noah was like trying to spin something positive out of this. She's like, "What do you think of Jordan Walsh?" And he's like, "Well, we got some guys missing, so that's why he's in there pretty much. I like Jordan, but he's in there because of injuries." And it was like, damn. I think he brings a lot of potential to this team. I think he fits in the mold of somebody who can contribute as a role player. He plays good defense. In these pregame exercises they have them doing, he looks very comfortable shooting the ball. His shot form looks smooth. I think that's something to be excited about if you're a Celtics fan. It's unfortunate that he didn't make his shots today or his free throws, but it's good that he's getting real minutes. It's good that he's playing against good teams. Like the Pacers are a good team. They made the conference finals last year. They didn't really make many changes. I would like to see more and more of Jordan Walsh. I hope we get to see him, especially with the team that's kind of struggling with putting an effort in at times. I think it's good to have somebody that has to earn their minutes and really feel like they have to earn it on the defensive end, being out there to be in the mix.
Yeah, and I think it's good regardless of the injuries thing, even though that is a real thing. And that is a reason why the Celtics, I think, have been struggling a little bit. I think they missed Drew. I think they've missed Drew. And we'll see what happens when he comes back. But regardless, this defense is a problem. The offense wasn't great either, and the three-point slump is really, really, really real now. But when you're allowing 120x whatever points to the Pacers and giving up 66 in the paint, I don't care how many fucking threes you make. It's going to be a tough game to win. Like, just a really, really bad defensive showing from the Celtics. The Pacers shot 53% from the field and 39% from three. The Pacers won a basketball game shooting 23 threes. They made fewer than 10 threes, and they won the game. Not good. Not good. The Celtics...
They just got whatever they wanted, man. Like the transition stuff was just really big. Like, it was deflating. It killed all. Like, the Celtics, it took everything for them to build any momentum, and it was gone like this.
Yeah, the Celtics had a 21-point advantage from three. They made 7 more threes than the Pacers, and they lost by 9 points. Not good. They also fouled a lot. The Pacers got to the line a lot and made a lot of free throws, and the Celtics just were not good at staying disciplined. So, I don't know. We'll see how it switches up from there. It is not good right now, but nothing we've seen from this group over the last 2-ish years has said that they can't get out of it. So, I'm not going to sit here and panic after a little bit of a rough patch. To be frank, I think it's more impressive that they haven't had a rough patch like this in the last year and a half till now. So we'll see how they bounce back. It is a unique point because we haven't really seen this group struggle like this, even though KP and Drew were out. So this is kind of the group that did struggle like this at points in the playoffs in 2023. But we'll see, man. I'm not worried, but we're treading that line.
It would be a little fun if you did get worried. I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think I could get worried.
Yeah, I don't. I think it would have to be like a colossal. Like, they would actually have to lose in the playoffs.
Yes.
But it would be fun for content if you were worried. But nonetheless, we'll wrap it up here, gang. Thanks for coming out. If you were one of the 3 people that watched this because they lost, you can leave a like, subscribe, comment, tell us what you thought of the loss. Jack and I are here every single day on the channel, so hit the bell so you're updated when we post a new pod, which is Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps like this one are up the morning after each game. And other videos, like all news ones, really, are up on the channel to keep you up to date with everything Celtics. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple. We're there with the pods and recaps, so if you just want the audio versions, you can go ahead and follow us there. They'll go right to your feed. You can email us, hbtcpod@gmail.com. Our socials are at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Facebook's just the name of the podcast. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter is at Jack's1NBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.